Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Director Niddle, thank you for being here. I'm going to focus on the structural deficit also, as many have before me. During the most recent budget negotiations, there was an understanding by all the caucuses and the administration of the Commonwealth, and administration that the Commonwealth was facing a structural deficit of about $1.25 billion for 15-16. That was an agreement among all of us. And in December of 2015, your office released its Economic and Budget Outlook report, which concluded that projected expenditures will outpace revenues through the year 2021 under current laws and policies. And the structural imbalance does grow each year, as the tax base expansion has been insufficient to maintain the level of current services. This report identified a structural deficit of $1.52 billion for 2015-16 and growing to about $2.5 billion in 16-17. But after this report was published, the General Assembly sent House Bill 1460 to the governor's desk, and Governor Wolf signed this into law as Act 10A with specific line item vetoes. HB 1560 reduced the general fund spending level to $30.2 billion, and it anticipated the need for about $300 million of new revenues to balance the budget. And that $300 million, I think you had mentioned at the start of your presentation, and so did Chairman Markosik, alluded to that. And, you know, we as a caucus had looked at that. We had determined that there were several ways to do that through liquor privatization and other non-broad-based taxes. And then in January, your office released an updated economic and budget outlook, which was based on the spending levels contained in that House Bill 1460. And while the analysis still concluded that projected expenditures will outpace revenues through the year 2020 and 21 under the current law and policies, the level of structural deficit was reduced to $760 million in 15-16 and $1.9 billion in 16-17 under that budget, which gives rise to the fact that controlling spending is a means to helping to solve part of our structural deficit problem. Furthermore, requiring the lapsing of unused monies and adding the beginning balance for 2015-16 reduced the budget deficit to approximately $300 million, which is the amount, as I said, that HB 1460 assumed to be generated from, we were looking at liquor privatization and other non-broad-based taxes. Therefore, while the governor has been touting that HB 1460 is out of balance, your analysis has proved that our general fund balance would have actually been in balance. And then through discussions and listening to the governor, and I thought Chairman Adolph might be alluding to this, it appears that the governor, he looks like we're looking at two paths. One that seems to, in order to close the structural deficit, one is large tax increases on businesses and working families in Pennsylvania, or two, unprecedented cuts in Commonwealth expenditures that will decimate public education, human services, and higher education. I understand that you're a nonpartisan body, and I'm glad that you're there doing what you do. But from a 10,000-foot level, isn't there really a third path that we need to look at other than those, the doom and gloom we hear of the cuts or these excessive tax hikes on the working class? Don't we have an alternative that can be employed, such as HB 1460, which is a path of minimal increases? We would balance the budget. I understand, I thank you for the definition between the budget deficit and the structural deficit. But can't we do something other than those alternatives that we're hearing from the administration?
Well, in regards to the addressing the structural deficit going forward, all options are available, whether they're on the expenditure side or the revenue side.
So I guess what you're saying is, I mean, but I'm saying those alternatives, the extremes, I would say there's probably a happy medium that we could strike in between. And like I said, maybe as an independent body, maybe you don't want to, you're afraid to say that, but I mean, that's kind of the way I'm looking at it, and we need to work together as a legislative body and through the branches to try to get this accomplished. That's all I'm asking.
Okay, sure, absolutely. Yeah, we cannot make recommendations, but we can say of the both options on the revenue and expenditure side are open to address the issue.
Well, like I said, it's a serious issue, but I think we need to be objective looking at it. And once again, I appreciate your time, and thank you, Mr. Chairman.